far as like, because we would do a lot of syndications, what is like a typical time frame? Say if we have a deal that we want to give the option for investors to invest in, what is like the typical time frame that they should put aside to know like it's, the money's going to be active, for that investment at this particular time? Do you know like a typical time frame?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Dwaine. It comes up a lot, and it's a good question to really, educate the masses too, I believe, because there is time involved. We live in a society where we kind of want everything done in one click, and we're getting there, but our industry just has, with subscription agreements and all the other KYC procedures that have to occur with this type of activity. There is some time involved. Now, we're pretty much paperless at this point. And we do a lot of things through DocuSign, so I think Midland has sped up that process pretty significantly. But when we talk about those 3 steps that are involved with the self-directed IRA, the open the account, fund the account, and fund the investment. Open the account can be done, within 20 minutes online. For us, at least. On the back end, when you're funding the investment, that can be done next day upon receipt of executed documents and a funded account. It's the middle part. It's funding the IRA that typically takes the most time, Dwaine, and that's because we're transferring from an existing custodian. Some are very responsive and can get us, your cash in a matter of a couple of days, especially if we're transferring via wire. But if you're funding, say, via 401k rollover, most of the time those are done by check. It's just the way that those plans work. They're not going to usually send out a wire. Sometimes they do, but in most cases, rollovers are have to be initiated one by the account owner, whereas an IRA transfer, us as successor custodian can be involved in that process. 401k rollovers are strictly dependent upon the plan participant, in other words, the IRA account owner. And that can take up to a couple of weeks in some cases because a check is being cut. It has to be mailed to us and then it has to be deposited. And Midland, like many other custodians, do have like a minimum hold period for those funds if they're received by check. So usually, if I'm giving people just like a layman's quote, it's usually about 2 weeks end to end to open an account and make the investment. We can maybe shave that down to 1 week in the best case, and sometimes it's going to take 3 to 4 weeks if you're transferring from, say, an IRA at a local bank or something like that. That's where we see a lot of lag time because they're just not one of those larger custodians that are built and for the transfer out process, and it's not an everyday thing for them. So anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks on the long end, and maybe 1 to 2 weeks on the short end.
Yeah, that's